Hi, welcome to my channel, and what is this? 2 videos in a row? This is just unheard of. I really hope I get it out in time because I just really embarrassed myself now if I haven't, but fingers crossed we get it done. Today we are building the house from the movie Psycho. I really wanted to do something for Halloween, and I was like, I don't really want to do the Addams Family house because everyone does that. And I thought about doing the house from Monster House. I don't know if you've seen that movie. Very strange, very weird children's movie. I don't want to say I wouldn't recommend it, but also know what you're getting into with that one. It's very odd. But that house is, like, for reasons I can't explain without getting into the movie, not really feasible in The Sims 4. So I was thinking, oh, what kind of, like, houses do I want to go for? Like, what famous houses are there? And I was like, oh my gosh, the house from Psycho. I was talking to my mum about it, actually, and I think she brought it up, or maybe I did. It was a very helpful phone call either way. So yeah, I decided, I would try and at least imitate the house from Psycho, because obviously it's The Sims 4. It's never going to be perfect, like, and there's no point stressing over and trying to make it perfect. It did make it very, very difficult because, like, you have to try and strike a balance between, oh, do I want this to be, you know, exactly spot on, or at least as spot on as I can get it, or do I want this to be, you know, a functional Sims 4 house that actually, like, looks decent, especially because obviously I can't get the exact same item, like, that's just not possible. So it's what kind of, like, replacement am I going for? Is it, like, the same shape, the same color, the same kind of vibe? Like, what is it that I'm actually going for? So I often end up, like, kind of paralyzed with choice, if I'm being honest, because I'm just like, do I want this or do I want this? So the outside especially was really difficult because I think that's the most iconic part is the outside of the house, right? So I really, really wanted to get that right. And the inside is, like, it's very loosely based off of the inside floor plan, but, like, really not that much. Like, it's really just made to be a house. It was the outside that I wanted to be, like, recognizable. So yeah, the inside came together much easier because I wasn't having to, like, try and make it look like something else, especially something else in real life that actually exists and is quite recognizable, so people do in fact know it and things. So yeah, but it was a fun challenge, and I do think, in my humble opinion, that I did, you know, a fairly good job. I think that if you know the house, you'd know that's what it is, right? You'd be like, oh yeah, that's the house from Psycho. I mean, you guys will have to tell me, like, if you have seen it, does this look like it? Do you think I did a good job? I hope that I did, because I really worked hard. This took me about 3 hours to get done, and I think the majority of that was spent just contemplating and, like, just thinking and stuff. I had to cut out me doing most of, like, the roofing and stuff, just because, yeah, it was not coming together, and I was embarrassed by how long it was taking me. So I cut out most of that because nobody needs to see me struggle for that long for such a stupid reason. Like, I don't know how I got it so wrong, but I just screwed up. So yeah, cut that all out for all of our safety and all of our sanity. But I struggled a lot with the windows. The ones that I end up going with is the base game ones that I think were added with vampires. I'm not sure, but I think it was those ones. But I thought they just filled the space really nicely and kind of had this, like, creepy look to them kind of thing. But the main issue that I was having was that, like, the center, like, tower bit has different windows, but I couldn't find windows that were different enough but still match, but then still had, like, the 3 window. It just wasn't working, so I just put 1. I also didn't put that many windows around the house. Like, I think if this was, like, a normal build that I was just doing, like, a more gothic house or whatever, it probably would have more windows. But I was like, this is supposed to be a creepy, scary, like, house, kind of, like, I don't want it to be flooded with light, with loads of natural light, you know what I mean? So I was like, maybe we'll go with, like, yeah, a few less. Like, there's still a substantial amount of windows in my opinion, but it's not, like, it's not a crazy amount. So yeah, I think it worked. I think it worked anyway. So this house has 4 bedrooms, 2 primary bedrooms, or, like, main bedrooms with, like, a double bed in it. I can't decide which one would actually be the primary bedroom, just because it is so, like, similar. Like, they literally have almost the exact same things in them, except one of them has a desk. So I guess maybe you could consider that one the primary, but there really is not that much difference. And then there's also a children's bedroom and an infant's room. I tried to make the infant infant's room, an infant's and toddler room, because I got to use that beautiful new kit, the storybook nursery kit, and they just fit so well. I'm so glad I got to use them in like a proper build and stuff, because it really does fit well, especially because I struggled with the kids bedroom. God, count how many times I say struggle in this video. But yeah, I found it really difficult just because I wanted it to still make sense in this house. Like a lot of the kids' furniture, it just doesn't suit a house this dark and like this thematically grey and things. So I was kind of like, what do I want to use? And like the storybook nursery kit, if we didn't have it, this house would have been near impossible to have an infant. I don't think I would have done it because everything is so bright and so vibrant, which makes sense in a modern house. But when you're trying to build something from, you know, the Victorian times, you don't exactly associate them with like, you know, bright rainbow colors and like really pastel pinks, and like it just doesn't, that's not what it is kind of thingy. I don't know if that's actually what it's like, because obviously all I see of it is like faded photos that don't really accurately show what the time was like. But I feel like because that's what people associate it with, that's what I want to have. So yeah, it was unfortunate that I didn't have that much for the kids room, but I think it still works. It's not a massive room anyway. All of the rooms in this are quite small, which is what I wanted. I wanted it to be quite like tight, because that's quite an old-fashioned thing, is to have lots of closed off rooms. Not that there's anything wrong with that, like that's what almost all houses in the UK are like. We have very old houses, so we have very old design, and yeah, they often have like really closed off rooms and stuff. But yeah, I am really happy with how it came out. I think that it's like, as much as it is like a spooky scary house and whatever, it's still a fully functional house. Like I play tested everything and literally everything works except the fireplace. It's just because in the formal dining room there's a table in there, and the table is slightly too close, but because of like how tight the room is, it can't be moved any further. So you could just move it and light it. But to be fair, it's not a bad idea to have them not be able to reach the fireplace, because they will turn it on all the time and then just wander off, and you like won't necessarily notice until it sets on fire. And it's very annoying when that happens, especially in a room like that where a lot of things are going to go up very fast, like quite realistic in that sense. Like a lot of things are going to burn very, very quickly. So yeah, probably not a bad idea that they can't reach it. But the other fireplace does work. There are two fireplaces, both downstairs. I did think about putting one upstairs, but I couldn't find a nice space for it. So I ended up putting radiators in every room that didn't have a fireplace, just because I thought that made sense. And it was also a really easy way to like just fill up some extra space and like have a little bit more going on, particularly because the wallpaper that I ended up using, because it's so like decorative and things, it's kind of hard to put artwork on it because it makes it feel like it's too much, especially because like the wallpaper itself is almost something to look at, you know what I mean? So having photos on top of that kind of makes it a little bit too much in places, so you do have to kind of be careful with that. So the radiators just took up a little bit of extra space and added that little bit more decoration without detracting too much from the wallpaper or seeming like it was too busy. I do think it's possible for those to burst into flames, like the radiators to burst into flames. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm sure that has happened to me once. It might have been that, or it might have been the thing is, it's definitely happened to me with the snowy escape heaters, and I think these are based off of the same thing. Like it's the same idea, it's just like a different skin essentially. So I'm pretty sure that they can burst into flames, so do be careful when you use them, because again, this house, it's gonna go up. There's so much stuff close together and things, so yeah, do keep an eye on that. I might be talking out my ass, and maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because yeah, house fire, devastating in this kind of place. But I do think it's a nice touch, and I think it like, yeah, it just makes sense in a place like this. So really pleased with how that came out. Just as a small aside, I'm having some issues with my editing software at the moment. So if this editing seems a bit less tight than usual, or I seem like it's cutting off in weird places, it sounds a bit strange. One, I apologize. It's not meant to be like that, but I'm just having issues. Like for some reason, I'm not seeing some of the wavelengths. Like I'm really sorry, this has no relevance to anything, but if you know what I'm talking about, I can't see the wavelengths on the actual like audio part. It's really hard to edit when I can't see where I need to cut, and I have to like really closely get in and like do it by ear basically, and that's just not an ideal way to do it. So I do apologize if the editing seems a little bit less stellar than usual. Not saying that I'm like the best editor in the world, but I try and do my best. That's what I'm saying. I try and do my best. So if it seems like this one is like I'm being lazy or something, I promise I'm not. I'm just struggling and I really want to get this out for Halloween, because yeah, it's just such an iconic horror. It's like one of the first horrors of that that, I don't even know how to describe it. It just had such an impact on horror, and it was so important to furthering the horror genre and things, especially with like, you know, the famous shower scene and stuff. You don't even see that much violence, but it's still extremely scary just because, one, something like that hadn't really been shown before because of how old this movie is, and two, it lets your imagination run wild. Like, you get to decide how graphic it is and like how bad it is, basically, and I think that's more scary than something being depicted on the screen. So yeah, absolutely amazing movie. So I really wanted to do the house justice, and I really want this video to come out on Halloween. I decided to go with a very black and white theme, like I'm sure you can tell by now, but the reason that I went for that is because obviously the movie is in black and white. In real life, the house is like a kind of beige color. Like, I'll put a picture up on screen for you now. Da, 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 da. So as you can see, very much not black and white, but in the movie, which I'll put up a picture for you now, da, 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 it's very much, it looks like a black house. So I was like, I think it's better known looking like this, and I think that's more spooky, scary Halloween season-esque, so I decided to make it all black. And then on the inside I was like, let's just carry on like it's inside, it's black and white. Obviously there are still pops of color because it's almost impossible to do a fully black and white house with this, particularly while keeping it all on theme. Like, if I was purely going for black and white, I probably could get it purely black and white, but I also think that then it wouldn't be like, I would have to use all sorts of like modern things, and it just wouldn't look like a time accurate. And the thing is, this isn't actually based off of any time period, it's just based off of vibes, like what you would expect, like if you imagine that kind of house. So I guess it doesn't really matter, you know. I wanted it to look the way it does, so it does. But yeah, I think that it does a good enough job at being like a spooky, scary house, but still is functional, and you know, you can live here and everything works and there's no issues. It's very pretty in my opinion. I mean, you could obviously just like quite easily replace the furniture and make it nice, or you could like gut it and redecorate it and like open it up. I think you could have some really nice open spaces. The only issue I think is like where's the stairs are. They're quite difficult to move. Like, I already had a hard time just placing them. That might be me just being like difficult because I struggle with stairs all the time. It's just something I'm not good at. I'm trying to get better, but I really struggle with stair placement and putting them in places that make sense. So yeah, I'm hoping that you won't have such an issue if you do need to change it. Maybe it's just me being me. But I think floor plans in general can be really quite challenging when they're like less open, just because you do have so many rooms, you kind of end up having to define them. Because when you have like an open space, you can kind of just put things in spaces. But when you have like a closed off room, you kind of have to think about like what's like behind the room, you know, can you get to it? Like, it's the kind of thing where you don't really want to have to walk to one room through another room. Like, you don't want to have to, I don't know, walk through an office to get to a bedroom or something like that, you know what I mean? So you have to kind of consider more and about which like room is going to be what, because it's literally a defined space, so it has to be this one thing and it has to make sense to be only that one thing. Like, I think in a house like this, it would be weird to have, say, like the living room and the kitchen attached. I don't think that's something that would be particularly normal in a house like this. So it's like, it would be weird. It would make the room look weird. So it's like, it's hard. You have to think, oh well, I have this large space, do I want like a large kitchen? Like, this place has quite a big kitchen, but I think like a small secondary dining room, like just one that you like have your breakfast at, and then you have the formal dining room for, you know, parties and entertaining and that kind of thing, but that's just for having meals as a family or whatever. So I think that does make sense. But yeah, when you've got little small defined rooms like that, it can be quite challenging. But I'd like to know, what do you guys like struggle with when it comes to buildings? Like, do you have the same issue, or are you just like, I'm just gonna make it a bedroom, I'm gonna like do this? Like, do you have a go-to every time? Because that is definitely one of my go-tos. It's like, oh, I got a spare room, just make it a bedroom, either a bedroom or a bathroom. It's like, in real life, obviously lots of rooms can have lots of purposes, right? But in The Sims, like, the things that make the most sense are bedrooms and bathrooms, especially bathrooms, because if you've got like even 4 Sims in your house and all of them go to like work and school at the same time, you need those individual bathrooms, or people are not going to get ready. And it's like a real household, you have to balance the bathroom. So this house is actually really bad for that, because it's 4 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. So school mornings are gonna be rough, man. But yeah, in The Sims, I always make a bedroom or a bathroom. But I'd really like to know, what do you guys go for? Do you have a go-to thing, or is that just like a me thing because I'm lazy? Also, I haven't actually said it, but happy Halloween. I hope you have a fun, safe, and spooktastic Halloween, whatever you're doing. If that's staying in, if it's going out, if it's partying, if it's trick-or-treating, if it's watching scary movies, whatever you end up doing, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful time. Yeah, I forgot to say that at any point, so I'm saying it now. But yeah, we are coming towards the end of the speed build portion of the video, so what we're going to do after this is I'm going to give you like a proper tour and like show around and stuff. It's really hard to see when it's spinning around like this, especially because I'm so indecisive. I try really hard when I'm building on video and stuff to stay on theme and stay on task, but I just struggle so much because I'm just like, oh, that thing would go there, oh, that thing would go there, oh wait, now I'm distracted by here, and I end up all over the place, and then my videos are all over the place, and I think that makes it even more difficult because it's one thing to see it, you know, at regular speed, to see me pinging from room to room, but seeing it this fast, oh, it gets a bit confusing, mate. So I do apologize for that, but also, yeah, that's the reason for the tour at the end, so you can actually have a look at things and not just see me flying all over the place. But yeah, you'll have to let me know what you guys think of this. You think I did a good job? I feel like I did, but it's, you know, it's nice to hear people say it. But yeah, you'll have to let me know what you guys are doing for Halloween this year. I'm most likely gonna be playing with the new pack. If this video goes up on time, and I really hope it does, then the pack should have been out for an hour, so I should have been able to play with it at least a little bit. I'm not 100% certain because I also have stuff to do in Fortnite, and that ends the day after, so that is also on a deadline. Hopefully I get some time to play with it, and I'm probably going to be building with that pack as well fairly soon, so do get used to seeing this kind of like more macabre gothic style, and like especially I think we're going to see a lot of rundown stuff because there were some really cool items. That roof decor thing, oh my gosh, I'm thoroughly looking forward to making some messed up houses with that. And it doesn't even have to be like gothic, like that could be used in so many different ways. Like we could fully just make like a abandoned house, like not even a horror abandoned house, like it's just completely run down and abandoned. And because that's always been a pet peeve of mine, is that I make abandoned houses and the roof is pristine, and it's like, okay, and it's like I feel like that's one of the first things to go, you know, is the roof gets damaged, and that's what happens here. But whatever, it's fine. But anyway, like I said, we're getting towards right to the end now, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump back in game and I will give you the tour. Alright, here we are back in game. Here is our lovely, if I do say so myself, house inspired by Psycho. I hope it's recognizable. I mean, to me it is at least, but maybe that's just because I built it. So, oh my gosh, I just noticed the terrain paint is gone. There is terrain paint, but it disappeared because that stupid bug. But if you get it off the gallery, there will be terrain paint on there. Let us start by going inside. So we start by entering in the hallway. Very nice. Not much going on here. It's just a hallway. We go into like this living room area where we don't have any TVs or radios in here because I didn't think it really fit the vibe, but we just have like, you know, a nice sitting room, got a little chess table, bookcase, you can sit in front of the fire, have a chat, very nice. Then over here we have the kitchen area, which I'm really pleased with. I was really worried that I wouldn't have enough stuff that like fit the vibes and was kind of like, you know, was just made sense to be here, but there was actually quite a lot. And I got to use that new portrait that came from the Grimm rewards event thingy, so I thought that fit quite nicely. We have a little table for just, you know, family breakfast or whatever. Then we have this little formal dining space here with a piano and a little bar area. You can get drinks out of that. And this is the fireplace I was talking about that doesn't work. Could technically just move this table out of the way, light it, and then move it back, but as of right now you can't get to it. But like I said, that's probably a good thing. So then if we head upstairs, we have another hallway. Boring, but you know, has to exist. Then we have the one and only bathroom in here. I really wish this came in black, or at least like a grey or something, but that's just early Sims 4 for you. Just not enough swatches. Then don't mind that baby. I just had a baby to see if everything was working, and I had twins. I was only trying to have one, but I had a science baby so I could test the bassinet, which is in the other room. We'll go see that in a minute. And I had twins. Not happy about it, but I'm I'm never gonna play this again, so it's fine. But ignore the baby. Then we have the kids' bedroom, which I think is quite cozy and nice, to be fair. I quite like it. Then we have my beloved infant's room, and this is where the other baby is. Don't know where it is now, not here. Don't know why that one is here, but this one isn't. Either way, it was in that bassinet. But yeah, really adorable little nursery. Really like how this came out. And then the final bedroom, which is just fine. It just is what it is. The bedrooms are kind of plain because, yeah, I didn't really have that much to add to them, but I like them. I think they look good. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you've got this far, do consider giving the video a like, maybe even a comment, maybe even subscribing if you feel so inclined. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one. Happy Halloween. Bye!